So, okay, so we have the foundation here. We kind of talked about a few things around Bitcoin and DeFi and the uses right now and in the future. So maybe you can kind of tell us more about first, like what brought you to build on Bitcoin. But also, I would love to kind of go more into detail about DLC Link and like kind of what you're building there and how Bitcoin's involved.
Yeah, absolutely. After happy to show DLC link after shilling Bitcoin. Feel free to throw cabbages at me virtually, guys and gals, if you find it not interesting. But basically we're taking a kind of a new approach to I guess I don't know, wrapping, bridging Bitcoin. What do we call it? Utilizing Bitcoin. And the approach we're taking is, what if you can lock Bitcoin on Bitcoin chain in an escrow, and basically enable conditional payments through that escrow. So we're specifically implementing an invention by from MIT by this guy Taj, who co-created the Lightning Network 4 years ago. He wrote this white paper on DLCs, and basically DLCs just introduce like an off-chain oracle, and so it's a 2 of 3 multi-sig on Bitcoin chain, where two parties can enter into this kind of conditional payment structure. Basically, it generates these kind of pre-signatures for what are the potential outcomes that can happen, and then the oracle basically like reports the outcome, said, all right, this one happened, and so therefore Alice, this is what you get, Bob, this is what you get. And so when we kind of learned about this, there were some DLC teams that were building DLCs as basically an agreement between two people. Like, let's say like Kadeem, you and I get into a sports bet, and you take one side, I take the other, and then the oracle tells us who won, and then one of us gets wins the bet. That's sort of the way that the DLC teams have been thinking about it. What we realized is, wait a moment, this could actually be a human interfacing with an app, like let's say on Ethereum. And like, how would that work? Well, the human, like, let's say I want to, for example, deposit Bitcoin as collateral and take a loan on it in like Aave. Like, that would be cool without using wrap BTC, just native Bitcoin directly. Well, I could enter into one of these DLC escrows on Bitcoin chain, and the counterparty would be connected to Aave, and I put my Bitcoin in there, and then basically once that escrow is funded, I sign those kind of pre-signatures. So there's two potential outcomes. I either repay my loan and I get my Bitcoin back, or I default at the 140% mark or whatever, and then the Bitcoin is swept to the other side, right? So we could actually implement like a I don't want to say it's a smart contract. It's almost like a dumb contract, because there's only two potential outcomes. But then I can trust Aave to basically, recognize that my deposit is valid, let me borrow on it, and then kind of go from there. And that's the origin. That's kind of the vision that we're implementing. And this basically, I mean, I use lending often when I talk about this, in videos and elsewhere. But really, it enables any kind of interaction where Bitcoin is conditionally moved. Like, it can be a sports bet, or it can be an insurance contract, or it can be some sort of derivative system or whatever. But basically, it's a way to have Bitcoin move based on the output of an external oracle. And we're building a platform to make it easy for developers to integrate this. So right now, like, building all of this is very clunky, difficult. There's pieces kind of missing. We're building this just kind of middleware, where if you have a DeFi app or some other type of app where you want to add support for native Bitcoin, and you're EVM compatible, you could just basically add our kind of components on there, and then you could actually enable this kind of interaction. So that's what we're building toward. It's still pretty early because this stuff is just net new. I mean, has not. This is a completely different approach. I actually call it self wrapping. Like, in contrast to BTCB or the other form, or WBTC or whatever, you're not sending it somewhere to be wrapped. You're actually entering into an escrow, and kind of that escrow wraps it, and so you can actually see the Bitcoin locked in your wallet. which is kind of cool. So you can, in a sense, you retain custody of it. It's in a multi-sig. But anyway, you've self-wrapped it. You've agreed to the potential outcomes. You can use that, wrapped representation in the app, and then if you default or whatever, then it's swept away. Otherwise, you get it back. That's like a really simple kind of instance of what a DLC could look like. And we have a prototype of this, and we've been partnering with Chainlink to really kind of get this developed, and later over the coming months we're going to have some actual applications that people can play with and see this interaction.
Nice. Okay, so that's definitely a lot of information. So I guess if you were to give a TLDR of what a DLC is, can you kind of give that maybe in like two sentences?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So it's the ability to conditionally move native Bitcoin on while keeping it on Bitcoin chain, and use that Bitcoin in Ethereum applications, in any way, using just smart contract logic and without needing a custodian or a bridge.
Okay, so you won't have to. Okay, so that's I guess like the biggest thing is like you won't have to use a bridge because bridges have. I mean, what are your thoughts on bridges?
Yeah, I mean, bridges are challenging to secure because they're built to transport value from one address to another, and so if they get hacked, they get drained. Basically, it's you have to kind of secure all of the smart contract. There's a lot of risk in bridges, and I think we've seen a lot of bridge hacks and stuff that has kind of reinforced this. This doesn't involve bridging because it's just the party and the counterparty just putting it in an escrow. And so there's only two potential places the Bitcoin can go. It cannot be like hacked and like the value drained. It either goes back to the original user or goes back to their counterparty. But there's no way it can, like, the addresses cannot be changed. So you just can't just send the Bitcoin to like some third party hacker.
Okay, makes sense. Okay,
I guess the
okay,
Oh,
you go
just
ahead.
so just to kind of add, it really is most similar to wrapping, except you don't use a custodian. You are using Bitcoin chain, period. You're not using any other chain systems or whatever. You're locking it on Bitcoin chain and you're wrapping it there. That's probably the best kind of mental image
Right.
for this.
So it's almost like it's like a smart contract in a parallel universe, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and the parallel universe is Bitcoin chain. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And I just to further add to that, oh, sorry, Caden,
no, you can go
you can
ahead.
go.
You
It's
can go
okay.
ahead.